When making your dream game, you really want to make sure that everything is amazing, especially the gameplay. It can have good graphics, stories and idea, but if nobody can play it and have fun, then you don't have a good game. In 2018, I published my first game on Steam, and if you missed the first devlog, let's say that it wasn't that good. Main problem? Exactly, the gameplay. As I mentioned in the first video, it's time to remake the game with all my current knowledge, and the first thing I will fix is exactly the main problem. And if you're here, don't stop watching the video until the rope mechanic, because that will definitely blow your mind. And by the way, thank you a lot for the amazing response on the first devlog. I got a lot of views and cool comments everywhere, and that means a lot to me. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing to not miss any devlog. Now, less talking, and this is the current caveman mechanics. You control the character with the classic WASD, can run, crouch for some unknown reason, and move the camera with the mouse. And right thing, you can see that I'm definitely not a character animation. It looks very robotic and honestly bad. But that's not everything. The game has a combat mode where you press a key and grab your spear to start fighting. As you can see, it also changes the camera, the character animations, and how he moves around. It's important to mention that you can't move while attacking as well. Very robotic, I know, probably because I didn't know a lot about gameplay programming back in 2017 when I started the game. But since I'm remaking it right now, that's something that I will improve 100%. I want the main controls, and especially the combat, to feel as fluid and dynamic as possible to avoid a frustrating experience to the player. Actually, this current combat is so slow and frustrating that I discovered that many players just avoided the enemies all across the map and finished the game without killing no one. Oh no. This time, I used Mixamo to deliver a way better and polished motion capture animations for the character, did an actual good gameplay programming, and this is the new way to walk in my game, Caveman Stories. And good lord, it's way better. You can now freely walk across the map into all directions with no delay between your keyboard input and the game response, and the animations feel awesome now. It really looks more like an adventure game where the character is ready to do some stunts, solve a problem, or explore a cave, which is exactly what I want it to feel like. But that's not everything. Actually, it's not even the best part of the video, so let's move on. You can see that the character now holds his current weapon or equipment in his belt. You can equip other things with the mouse scroll, and the most important part, you can press a button to pick what you have in your belt anytime you want, and the character will grab it without even stopping what he's doing, because come on, it's a 2020 game. The way you walk will not gonna change, and having a weapon or an equipment in your hand will not prevent you from doing anything. For example, are you seeing this giant pillar? You can push it with your hands even if you're holding an axe. That's not realistic, of course, but definitely adds a lot to the gameplay. And yes, this push mechanic is something new to the game and will get even better when we finally talk about the new rope mechanic. I don't have much to show about the combat right now, because I haven't programmed anything related to it yet, but you can expect it in some upcoming devlog. Also, before we move on, good news for the caveman. He will no longer die because of the cold. Why? Well, he is smart and actually discovered fire. Yes, now you will be able to equip a torch once you unlock it in the game, and that will allow you to enter and explore some caves across the map that were too dark and cold to be explored without a torch. More on that in a future devlog. Moving on, we have two things left for this video, the rock and the rope, which is probably the most exciting part of this entire devlog. Let's start with the rock. especially talking about how it looks like until now in the game. You're walking across the map and you find a rock in the ground. Yes, a rock, manually placed by the developer, aka me, in a fixed position in the ground. You can interact with it and it will allow you to aim, then you throw it and that's it. You may have noticed that this character is super strong because he throws the rock as fast as a bullet. Behind the scenes, throwing the rock is actually a raycast. There's no actual rock flying across the map. That's weird, I know, but you know what is even more weird? The fact that you can't walk when holding the rock, because, you know, for us humans, it's too much for the legs to walk carrying a half-a-pound object. Come on. Just kidding, that's now not a problem. I removed the pick the rock in the ground mechanic. Now you have unlimited rocks in your pocket, because why not? And you can aim and throw it from where you want, doing whatever you like. It's much better now, and my favorite part. The rock is now an actual rigid body, with a trajectory and of course the ability to interact and push other objects across the map. Talking about push and pull, wouldn't it be nice to have a rope to pull things? Oh, a rope? Are you waiting for the rope mechanic? Alright, here it is, and I have to say that it's so exciting that I could have made an entire devlog only for that part, but I will show it now in this video. Until now, the way the rope mechanics works is: when walking across the world in the Stone Age, it was very common to find random ropes spread everywhere, manually placed by an unknown entity, aka me, the dev. And you can grab it and it will increase your rope count. Are you seeing that number? Yes! It's the amount of magic rope you have found across the Stone Age world with no explanation, and that number is actually a measure in meters in the Stone Age. And before you ask, because I know you're wondering that, an outstanding total of 0 players was able to figure that out. But that's not everything about the rope. You could go near a tree and tie the rope on it, and if you have enough rope, in meters of course, you can go to another tree and do the same. That creates a trap. Effective against the ice giant, yes, that's one of the steps you need to kill the giant, and against a giant Stone Age medieval windmill like mechanical gear for no reason. Actually, I'm making fun of that, but it's actually part of the plot of the game. The ice giants were it should save the story for you to figure out when a game update goes live and you'll be able to finally play it. So never mind, let's go back to the rope. That mechanic was not very intuitive and very hard to get used to it. A fun thing about it is that you need to have enough rope to tie it into 2 trees, but the rope seems to be magic because nothing prevented you from tying the rope to a single tree to make it tied back to you and completely ignore that and move on, walking across the map. And now, I want to show you the new rope mechanics. I completely redesigned the rope. I wanted to be one of the main core mechanics of the game, so I made it as fun and extensive as possible. Now, the rope is part of your equipment. It's your rope and you will not leave it all across the map. It's your best friend now. You can equip it, throw it, it's now a rigid body just like the rock, and it will interact with objects, snap, and if the other object is a rigid body as well, it will also give you the capability to pull that towards the rope direction. And there is no more rope crossing and completely ignoring other objects. It will collide with those objects realistically, as you can see in the video. Honestly, that feature alone is so cool that I'm spending more time playing around with the rope across the map than actually developing the game. It lets you plan your movements, tie the rope into a dynamic object, then pass it behind a pillar and finally pull it, and that object will first move towards the pillar and only after that it will go to your direction. I'm planning to use and combine this mechanic a lot. Right now, you can use it to pull down a drawbridge, rotate and move a big platforms to build a path for you to cross, pull a pillar or boxes, and there's a lot of other options. Something that I'm planning to add as well is the ability to stand on top of a moving platform, then tie the rope into a fixed prop like a tree, and then pull it to move you and the platform towards that direction. That would be so cool. Now, I want you to be a part of this amazing project. Leave in the comments what is your favorite new mechanic so far and what you'd like to see in the game. I will choose the best ideas and try my best to add it to Caveman, so make sure you like other cool comments as well. So those were the foundations of most of the main mechanics of New Caveman, and I'm really excited to keep working on it and improve it. I will probably revisit most of those features in the future devlogs to finish them and do the final polish along with the sound and visual effects. But for now, I'm trying to make this new game feature complete as soon as possible, so I will be able to iterate over it easily. So in the next video, you will see a lot of usability and user interface things like menus, inventory, skill trees, and so on. So I hope you enjoyed the devlog as I did. Please subscribe if you're not. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video.